City of Eldridge, Iowa, on Monday, May 20th, 2024, at 7 p.m. Roll call.
Hilsey,
Present.
Dockery,
Present.
Collins,
Present.
Campbell,
Present. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. For a motion to approve the agenda. So moved. But here, second. Second. Motion by Dr. Reed, second by Yossi to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nay. Ayes have it. Public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to address the council? Please state your name and your address.
Sure. My name is Josh Proteckian. I reside at 1118 South Fifth Street. I'd like to take this opportunity to voice my objections to the proposed Townsend Farms shared use path trailway west of South Fifth Street to east of South First Street. We do have a petition today, which we would like to make available to you. We have 17 of the occupied 19 homes, which back up to that said trailway. 90% of the residents are opposed to the location of this trailway, as presented. I have three main objections. First being drainage. In the 23-page document, there are no specific drainage details for this entire scope of the project. My first question within that being, how will the runoff impact each established yard along the trailway? The second being, who will be the contact person for citizens with questions or concerns if something were to arise? Second point of concern is privacy. Trailways and bike paths should not interfere with the privacy of residential properties. Access to well-maintained existing sidewalks are plenty. Current pipeline easements prohibit privacy fences and structures along property lines. However, the proposed 10-foot wide concrete pad apparently does not have to play by those same rules. Again, questions being, is any beautification being considered of the proposed plan? And will exceptions be made to install privacy screens or fences on homeowners' property lines? The third and final objection, service the most important, safety. This trailway poses a liability for homeowners as well as the city of Eldridge. The access from the trailway to backyards is unprecedented. Simply put, this plan has potential to serve as a breach on the duty of care for the city's citizens of Eldridge. Are you willing to guarantee the safety of our children, homes, properties with this access? Will the trailway be monitored by law enforcement? For the police chief, is there a plan in place for the issues that arise on the bike path? As mentioned in previous council meetings, the shared use path east of First Street along Lincoln Road is a phenomenal recommendation. One I wholeheartedly agree with and urge this recommendation, but one additional recommendation or suggestion would be to make that same pathway connect and extend that trailway along Lincoln Road. A bike path along Lincoln Road is feasible, common sense option while eliminating many of the points of concern I shared with you tonight. I hope the council will use their best judgment to table this project upon further examination or make the necessary modifications. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
I'm Kathy Clausen. I live in the 100 block of Torrey Pines Drive, and I'll be directly affected by the proposed recreational path being constructed over the gas line. We have the following concerns, but potential solutions. Privacy is a concern. The proposed path will be next to our property line. While constructing privacy fences seems like an obvious solution, in addition to cost, the said privacy fence has to be 25 feet inside of our lot line to comply with the gas company's requirements, essentially cutting off the back half of our yard. we'd have to add a gate through which we would go to mow the rest of our lawn. That part of our well manicured lawn will be enjoyed by the recreational trail users, but not by us, the landowner. The next concern is security. If it's going to be as well lit as our regular sidewalks, I believe that will present a privacy and a nuisance issue. Streetlights in the front of homes is standard, but not usually in our backyards. The third is safety. A proposed crossover at First Street would be in the middle of a block of high traffic where the speed limit is 35 miles an hour along South First Street. And then lastly is logistics. Our lot is well graded and has good drainage, but we've noticed that the property immediately to the west of us suffers a lake effect every time we have a heavy rain producing about a half an inch or more. That lake forms directly through the proposed path at South Second Street. This will need to be addressed by the builder, and it may increase their cost. Currently, when anyone from our neighborhood wants to use the existing north-south path along First Street, we have found the safest way seems to be to walk down to Second Street to Lincoln Road, walk along the edge of Lincoln Road. There's no shoulder there. And we cross at First Street, but at least it's a regular crossing that cars may be paying attention to. While the proposed path may seem like a safe alternative to walking on the edge of a heavily trafficked road such as Lincoln, we have another suggestion. We propose the path be along Lincoln Road, extending from South First to Fifth, providing access to the existing path on First Street. Eventually, that same east-west route could extend to the edge of Fox Ridge Road or South 9th Avenue or 11th Avenue to include the homes in those additions as well. I hope you'll take these concerns seriously, keeping in mind safety, security, logistics, and access to recreational opportunities for the greatest number of Eldridge citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have anything bike path related, but here we go. I would like to follow up on the review and improvement of the Eldridge Police Department's investigative procedures. Following an alleged incident that occurred back in February, a minor was wrongfully charged with a felony after he was admittedly out ding dong ditching with the other masses. That was in the initial police report, masses of teens. Last week, the prosecuting attorney dismissed those charges as there was no evidence that the minor was involved with the alleged damage at all. The fact that the charge got that far when there were so many chances for the department to course correct is truly unbelievable and quite frankly disgusting. We provided more than sufficient evidence over the past several months that it was not possible for the boys to have been involved, including time-stamped videos at the time the alleged incident occurred and were disregarded. And in one particular instance, I was accused of lying and covering for the children after I was the one that brought the boys into the police for help and to inform them that there was a madman threatening to kill children on Facebook. Now that I have even more information and realize things that were said in these particular council meetings leading up to the wrongful charges, I truly believe that there wasn't an actual investigation because the city was using my children and the children I love as scapegoats to try to prove a point. It didn't matter that they didn't do the damage. I was told by the Eldridge police, he's a minor and this is his first offense. They will take it easy on him. It won't be on his permanent record. Was that supposed to make me shut up and go away? Was that supposed to make me feel better or the other parents? You are right. It won't be on his record and no one will be taking it easy on his punishment because he did not do it. You truly picked the wrong mothers if you thought trying to reason with us like that would work. Would you be saying the same thing if it was your child facing a felony charge? False. There were 2 complaints filed with the EPD regarding the investigation or lack thereof. We were told were unfounded. We were told that the investigating officers followed procedure, but agreed their procedure should now be reviewed and updated. So what is the update? What is going to be done to prevent this from happening to other members of this community, especially children of this community in the future? Also, how are you going to work on your own internal communication to make sure involved officers are up to speed on their cases when they return from their time off? Who covers when they are gone? This fixation and lack of investigation has furthered harassment and threats against my family. It has cost all the involved families missed time from work, school, money, stress, medical issues, damaged relationships with friends, and on and on. Yet, ding dong ditching was an issue with high school, junior high, and elementary kids alike. Probably still is. Yes, my kids, that encompasses both my own and the kids that aren't biologically mine, but mean the world to me, have partaken. This is not an attempt to take accountability off of them. In fact, I took them straight to the police so they could own up to ding dong ditching when I found out they had gone to some houses that night, even offering to show them which doors they had knocked on or bells they had rung. If I had known what would happen next and that us trying to do the right thing would be used as an opportunity, I would never.
Could you state your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Katie Lynn Hugger.
Thank you.
Hi, Melissa Meggers. I'm another parent involved with it. I'm going to continue. I told these boys they could trust the police, we could trust them, and they would protect us. Unfortunately, that relationship is likely beyond repair unless some significant changes are demonstrated. The department doesn't need state-of-the-art equipment, fundraisers, and on and on. Some could benefit from a simple ethics course and investigative procedures 101. Despite my obvious frustration and disappointment, there have been officials involved that have shown compassion and have been responsive. Officer Gale has been extremely responsive and has taken significant time to discuss things with us, despite the fact that he was not even assigned to the alleged incident or the harassment case that is pending. His colleagues should thank him for the heat he took on their behalf. The same for Nevada Lemke. They didn't do anything to stop what was happening to us. I don't even know if they could, but they did seem to care and they listened, which is more than I can say about someone I thought was a friend who couldn't be bothered to even respond to email asking for advice. Chad Jones is a gem of a human being. He is in the right profession, and I hope he is with our school district for many years. And all of us feel that way. To summarize, in the name of justice, the prosecuting attorney's words, the charges were dismissed against the minor in question. Time for the grown-ups to stop the gossip. And what will the police department do to ensure that parents in this community, they will never have to put someone through this again? If we can't trust you, what is the point? I'm happy to discuss this with anyone that has questions or concerns with my statements made here. Since there's a minute left, I'm going to continue. My son was also involved in this alleged incident, which clearly did not happen. But the fact that we spent 3 months, stressing, crying, begging, doing the job of the Eldridge Police Department is ridiculous. The fact that my son and I were down with the prosecuting attorney, the district attorney's office, the day before trial was supposed to happen, I flat out said, the fact that we are even here today is ridiculous. This did not need to happen. These kids did not need to be put through what they were put through. A minor's name was mentioned in the paper, which is not legally wrong, but is ethically wrong, in my opinion, and the opinions of others. Why do we need to get to this point? This is not the very first time that I've had to go to battle for a child that isn't even mine because of the lack of accountability from the Eldridge Police Department. Saying that, I do not mean every single officer, and we are an America First, back the blue type of family. I believe in the police. We teach our children to respect and admire the police department, but the ball was dropped here, and we need to take a really strong look at what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone? Go ahead.
Hey, my name is Greg Mayhew. I live at 231 West Torrey Pines. Back to the bike path issue. Me and my 3 neighbors, we have 10 kids together, all of us in our backyards, all back up to each other and all back up to that pipeline. Right now, on a summer night or even a nice weekend night, you'll come to our yards and you'll see 10 to 20 kids playing in the backyard. And we don't got to worry about people riding their bikes or ATVs and stuff like that through our backyard right now. One issue I have also with what they said, all the people walking through, there's no privacy. There's no possibility to have any privacy back there. Because our yards kind of are a little lower than the pipeline. So even if we built a privacy fence, you'd still be able to see straight to my back door, straight to my kids' rooms and all that stuff. The other issue I have is, I know I see them in the summertime now, ATVs and those dirt bikes riding on the bike path. I know that they'll be ripping through the new addition if we do that. Then they'll decide to go off-roading and rip through our yards, and they're gonna tear up our well-maintained yards, and they're gonna have divots and all sorts of stuff like that. I don't wanna have to mess with that stuff. I hope you guys reconsider this and really think about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam Smaller, I live at 1014 South Fifth Street. So I back up to that 9 acres of retention there, so it's a bill. The city did not maintain that well for 10 years. We actually mowed that field. I don't think anybody by the right mind with this path would they actually maintain it up to a standard of a yard, which is what we did. I just don't think that this would be a good path for it. Floodplain. You cannot impede any path of the water coming into the floodplain. I had to pay flood insurance my first couple of years till I actually had a survey done where I didn't have to pay flood insurance because it was wrong. The city told me I had to pay it. When they did it, Rick and Meyer came out and said, yeah, you don't have to pay it. So just take that in consideration. You shouldn't be putting like anybody's yard. These people just paid $5,000 for a house. They didn't pay.
Thank you.
My name is Brian McNall. I live on 1013 South Second Street. My two kids are two of the 20 kids that Greg referenced a few moments ago. In addition to the safety concerns there, I'm an avid runner, and I think we have a really great opportunity in the city of Eldridge here to build like a grand path. I mean, we've already got the great path on First Street. I'm running that path every single day. I mean, we could connect Lincoln to Buttermilk up to Leclerc, and we've got, you know, you drive through Bettendorf and you see the paths, you see all the people active, and that's something that a community can really take pride in. And I think we have an opportunity to do that here in Eldridge. You know, it'd be great for the Moonlight Chase, and things like that. And, you know, back to the safety concerns. I've had enough close calls with bikers on my own, just zooming, you know, and I'm running, I got my headphones on, maybe I'm not paying as much attention as I should be, but I have the wherewithal to pay attention to that. I know that my 7-year-old does not. And if we're over at Greg's house on a Saturday night, I don't want to have to worry about my kid, you know, having a run-in with a speeding biker. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Christy Long. I live at 385 West Torrey Pines Drive. I think everybody's eloquently voiced their concerns on the bike path. I just wanted to make sure my voice was heard that I also am not in favor of this bike path. We do have a privacy fence, but at the same token, having a privacy fence, I can't see what's going on back there, so I actually lose sight to the path. And we have a gate that comes to the back of our yard, so makes us a little bit nervous that anybody could enter our backyard when it's not normally a trafficked area. So privacy is also a concern for us. In addition to the understanding of how long this bike path is at its current state, doesn't make a lot of sense to me in the sense of it's 0.4 of a mile. So anybody that's running the bike path generally is looking for a much longer run or bike ride or walk. So I think we also need to consider what the benefit is to put it behind versus trying to figure out how do we just connect the sidewalk that's in front of all our houses. Still 0.4 miles. It can connect over. I do like a lot of the suggestions on Lincoln Road that make a lot more sense if there's access to some of those newer homes that are on the other side of Lincoln that they are creating. And so just wanted to make sure I also voiced my concern and for the record, disagree with this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has anything they'd like to talk about during public comment? Well, thank you for coming and bringing those things about Lincoln Road to your attention. There's been a lot of conversation. Some of those people on Lincoln Road have already built their houses on the east side. They don't have much backyard either. There's some people with the farmhouse there right up at the corner where the bike path is. They don't have much of a front yard, so a lot of things about the Lincoln Road thing have still been discussed on how to address the same problems that you guys are talking about. And this bike path, that we're talking about here was started quite some time ago. Before all your houses. So, I do agree there's probably some need to relook at this. Putting a bike path near on top of the gas line might have made sense when there were no houses there, because it's kind of a wasted space. You can't, like you said, you can't put your fence there, you can't put your pool there, you can't put your shed there, your kids' playground equipment there. So, thank you for coming, and this will be up for discussion again.
And I want to just say also, I agree with Frank. Thanks for getting involved. Thanks for raising this for attention. This is all done before Ryan and I got on the council, so this is all kind of new to us. And also in terms of the ding dong ditching thing, you raised some good questions, and it makes me want to ask more questions. I promise you that I will do that.
Okay, we'll move on to 5A. Consideration to approve the city council minutes from May 6, 2024 meeting. So moved. Motion by Yossi, second by Collins to approve the minutes from the city council of May 6th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 5B, consideration to approve the committee of whole minutes also from the May 6th meeting. Do you hear a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
Motion by Yossi, second by Campbell to approve the committee of whole minutes from May 6th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 5C, consideration to approve bills payable. There's been amendment to that. The previous bill totals came to a total of $267,660.67. The new amended total is $271,697.50. Nevada, would you explain what that was?
So one check that was, put on the utility bills payable for their meeting tomorrow that should have gone on the city. The city's paying the, Eldridge utility for our cost of streetlights, so that bill should have been on the bills payable for tonight. The amount of that bill was $4,036.83. So that is the difference in the bills payable from the posted agenda packet to what you have tonight for bills payable. With the credit cards, the grand total for bills payable would be $273,990.10.
Brian, have any questions?
No, my questions were answered prior to the meeting.
Scott?
Minor, I'll answer. I just have one more question for Nevada. Did you ever find out the fire truck thing? That was-
Yes, sorry. Yes, and I got that email and I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one that the sewer purchased. They
Got it.
refer to it as that.
Andy, do you have any questions?
All my questions were answered, sir.
Thank you. Ryan?
My questions were answered also.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve the bills payable then as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Reed, second by Collins to approve the bills payable as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Consideration for appointment to utility board, the fifth person. I'm bringing forward Michael Brisley for that recommendation. He has lots of knowledge in electrical. He started out as a lineman and worked his way up, and now he's a consultant and an engineer for doing commercial solar installations all around the United States. He worked for the TVA, Canada American Electric, which didn't do any electric in Canada, but apparently they do a lot of electric work in municipalities and all the northern border states. He also has a knowledge of the grid, purchasing power, and what areas of the grid can't actually handle so much power. So if you wouldn't get overcharged with his knowledge you want to buy X amount of electricity, certain areas of grid can't even handle that type of flow. So you'd be overcharged because you wouldn't get the electricity you were paying for. So with that in mind, I'd recommend Michael Brisley for 5th appointment to utility board.
In his history, looks like he'd be a good fit, especially with transmission. Because currently we get our power from two different sources. We're involved in a transmission fee also. The utility board bought and council blocks to keep us off peak power, us continue to keep our rates lower. So I think that his background would understand that.
Questions here, Your Honor?
So is it, you make a motion, Brian?
I'll make a motion to approve the mayor's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, motion by Donnie, second by Dan, to approve Michael Brisley to utility board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. Okay. On to number 6. Discussion and consideration to approve paying a portion of the annual maintenance of a cost of $1,166.58 for servicing the generator to community center. Nevada, can I call on you for this?
Sure. This bill was on the bills payable at the last board meeting for the community center. Last year, the city council discussed this bill and split that 50-50. The generator is here to keep the community center running. It is an emergency shelter location for the city. So the city council did go ahead and approve splitting that, the portion of that bill. And the community center board was looking for that same consideration this year. I know we discussed last year to have that continue to be split between the city and the community center to some degree.
Is that a 50-50 split? I don't remember.
It was last year, yes.
Make a motion, do the same thing.
If we need for heat and cool for our citizens, if something would ever happen, even to a park, we'd have somewhere they could go. A second.
All right, motion by Dockery, second by Collins, to approve an annual maintenance fee, $1,166.58 for the community center. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 6B, consideration to approve setting a public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 24 amended budget on Monday, June 3rd, 2024 at 7 PM at the Eldridge Community Center.
No,
Okay. Do I hear a motion then to approve? Motion by Campbell, second by Dockery to approve the hearing for the fiscal year 24 budget on Monday, June 3rd, 2024 at 7 PM at the Eldridge Community Center. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 6C, consideration to approve resolution 2024-14, amending the 2024 Eldridge Employee Handbook. Vatican, I'm calling you for that.
Sure. In the resolution, there is a paragraph out of the city's communications portion of the new 2024 handbook. That is a new section that was added to this updated handbook. And you should have a copy of the full communications provision in front of you. What we're looking at is just the highlighted paragraph. There is a couple of terms that needed to be updated. Rather than personal devices, any employees that would access systems remotely would be either in our public safety or a management position, and they would have city-issued devices that are on our network and have user accounts on our city system. So it's rather than personal devices, we've just updated that to reflect the city-issued devices. And also clarify the process for authorizing that access. It would be requested by the supervisor through the city administrator. So if there was concerns over any access or systems, that the administrator will work with the board or the city council to authorize that access for a supervisor or their employee.
Does anybody have any questions for Nevada on the change?
For clarification, you're gonna handle authorization over any employee person in the city,
Yep.
not just the city side.
Yes, so if there was a supervisor on the utility side or one of their employees, that supervisor would communicate the request for that authorization. And if there was any concern with the utility board, I would work with them on clarifying that for that supervisor.
And will we keep a documented paper trail on who has permission and who doesn't? I mean, once it's granted, will that be signed off by the employee with disciplinary actions that could happen if it's abused and put in a file, or?
Any disciplinary actions would be outlined in the handbook or the CBA, depending on the employee. But the tracking for access would be done through our city's network system, because they would be city-owned devices and city-authorized software systems that are controlled and monitored by our IT department.
We'd still like to see a paper document in a file that anybody that's got permission to remotely access those documents.
Kind of like what we do with credit cards, is that what you're saying? Kind of the same thing. So it's not only is it in this, but then they have another sheet that they would have to sign.
Yes,
And then that goes in their file.
Then that would go on their file. So we totally understand that part of the,
there's no misunderstanding.
right.
Okay.
I would agree.
Brian, you want to make that your motion and amend it with the paperwork and
So much sheet
and Dan, you second that, right?
and with the sign off sheet, yes. Sir.
Okay. Roll call?
Campbell,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Dockery,
Aye.
Gilsey,
Aye. All right. Resolution 2024-13 passes. On to number 7, staff report. Start with you, Nevada.
The Centennial Patching Project is finalized. They're doing the walkthrough and final punch list items this week. The patching two project for this year is also complete. They've already done the walkthrough and final payoff on that. We did have a LeClaire Road corridor study meeting with Zach from Shive today to schedule the next steps for that project, and we'll anticipate bringing that back in front of council for discussion at a committee of the whole meeting, likely looking at the July meeting for that discussion. First in LeClaire intersection project, we're working on the DOT pre-audit checklist right now. Everything's been paid out other than the retainage, which will get paid out after the DOT audit is complete. I think that's all.
All right, thank you, Nevada.
Nevada, can you give me the information on the ding dong digit? I was very unfamiliar with that
Yep.
whole situation.
Yep.
Or any other comment, just get it for the council.
We can do that.
Or to look into something if we don't know about it.
Jeff, I'll call on you.
Yes, sir. At the last meeting, we discussed briefly, solar ordinances. Since that time, I've reviewed the state of Iowa solar model ordinance and the ordinance of Davenport, Bettendorf, DeWitt, Clinton, and LeClaire, and have a draft ordinance ready to go out for staff review. And after that, it'll go to planning and zoning, so you guys should see it back in front of you in the next.
Thank you, Jeff. Martha, do you have an update? Okay. And the police chief isn't here. Is there any students from the government classroom this evening, hiding in the back anywhere?
State your name.
State your name and. All right. If you have any paperwork you'd like signed, you can bring it up here right now.
Oh, I don't think they stated their name.
I'm Brianna Shipness.
All right.
I'm Ashley Mills.
And we'll have you out of here by 10 o'clock. You got a fight with him.
Thank you.
You get a copy of the.
Thank you for coming by, Greg.
You got to fight with it.
Here's mine.
If there's no other students from the government class, that will conclude the regular part of tonight's city council meeting. Thank you for coming.